It is Saturday, October 25th, 2025. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields, and thank you for being part of this weather community. Jamaica, we're going to take a direct hit from a major hurricane. It's a life-threatening situation. In this video, I've got you covered. We're going to go day by day when the worst weather will hit, what to expect for the winds and the rain. It is going to be a slow mover, so I want to give you everything before we may lose touch with losing power, so you know how to prepare both with what we need to do on the ground and mentally as well, because this is going to be a long haul. I want to show you the life-threatening storm surge out of this, how strong it could get, and some of the changes we could get. Plus, we're in action mode in some new locations, so I want to show you that. But a direct hit likely from this. It is getting stronger. It's stronger than what even the models are showing. I'll show you that. We may have some communities that get kind of stuck in place out of this because of the major hurricane impacts and the life-threatening, potentially catastrophic flooding. We may have some roads cut off. We're going to have some of that, rock slides, that sort of thing with the flooding. So with that, we need to have days and days of food on hand. We all have different means, so I appreciate you, and I've been seeing it, helping each other out. We're in a community, we're kind of looking around on the hillsides, who may be more vulnerable than others, who may be near water. Well, we're helping each other out best we can with this. But again, this is moving our way.
We got that 5 p.m. advisory in from the National Hurricane Center. It includes, in this new bulletin, the possibility of a peak storm surge of 5 to 10 feet above normally dry ground at high tide, somewhere along the southern shores of Jamaica.
Monday, September the 12th, 1988, has gone down in the annals of Jamaica's history. It was the day Hurricane Gilbert came, and with it came death and destruction. Hurricane warnings were out from the night of September the 11th. The nation braced itself for Gilbert, but in the aftermath, just over 40 people lost their lives, and damage worth billions of dollars was left behind. In a matter of hours, Jamaica was ravaged by one of the most destructive hurricanes ever to hit the Western Hemisphere. In our Gilbert special, we go back to the week of September 12th and the days following that disastrous event. St. Thomas was the first parish to yield to Gilbert's onslaught. The hurricane hit land shortly after 11 o'clock on Monday morning, September 12th. It traveled in a westerly direction, so Morant Bay was where it made landfall. In a matter of minutes, it was the capital city's turn. And Yvette Rowe was on the streets of Kingston with Prime Minister Siaga early that morning.
In Kingston on Monday the 12th of September, the rain just kept coming, a continuation of the tropical storm conditions of Sunday night and a prelude to Hurricane Gilbert. Jamaica was bracing itself for a hurricane. News of hurricane precautions, flood warnings and the locations of shelters were on the airwaves all morning, yet on the streets of Kingston there were those who didn't seem to take it all seriously. Prime Minister Siaga was on the road early, warning of the danger. The message on radio and TV was that the hurricane was coming and it would hit Jamaica dead on, and people should find safe shelter.
This is a very dangerous and deadly hurricane, and as most people have never experienced one before, they should take all the cautions that the ODP has been broadcasting.
Even before the hurricane hit, trees were falling and roofs were lifting, a hint of worse to come. The eye of the hurricane made landfall in the east at Morant Point at around 12 p.m. Jamaica was to be surrounded by Hurricane Gilbert and rocked by its force. What seemed solid before became helpless against Gilbert's fury. Winds of more than 100 miles an hour buffeted trees, broke light. The winds whipped up into a stinging mist. By the time the hurricane was in full force, most people were sitting out the storm inside, but some had other things on their minds as they ran in the rain. Then came the calm as the eye of the hurricane came over. People tried to make repairs while others just looked. Then, as if having paused to take a breath, Gilbert came again with winds from the opposite direction of even greater strength than before. These pictures were taken by our news team as a second wave struck Kingston. After the hurricane passed, Prime Minister Siaga spoke to the nation.
We have just passed through the worst natural disaster that Jamaica has experienced in its modern history. I don't think I need to convince anyone of that fact after the frightening episode of this hurricane which has devastated Jamaica today.
Soon after this, TV would cease transmission, as it was clear the nation was without electricity. However, radio broadcasts continued throughout the day and night. One day's weather had destroyed homes, sent roofs flying and flooded roads and houses. International and local communications were knocked out, and with hundreds of utility poles broken and wires hanging, what power supplies weren't damaged had to be shut down for safety's sake. Thousands were without homes, the lucky ones staying with friends or relatives, and others in the hundreds of shelters around the country. The immediate needs were for food and shelter for those made homeless by the hurricane. In Kingston, Gilbert left a mess of trees and wires, rubble and broken glass. Many roads were blocked, but Gilbert's impact felt most in human terms. In the days following the hurricane, more evidence of Gilbert's destructive force in other parts of the island would become clear. But on Monday evening, there was little doubt that Jamaica would face a tremendous task in dealing with the emergency needs, cleaning up and rebuilding what Gilbert had laid to waste.
All of these tasks now confront us. But with a will, we'll put ourselves to work, and with the cooperation of everyone, I'm sure that we'll be able to recover from the damage that today has been inflicted upon us by the worst natural disaster in Jamaica's modern history.
After Hurricane Gilbert, the best way to see the damage to the island was from the air. The picture was not good. Prime Minister Siaga got his bird's-eye view aboard a U.S. Air Force C-130 cargo plane. The plane had brought in relief supplies from the U.S., and it was to fly on to Montego Bay to drop off supplies there. The outward journey was via the south and west of the island. In Montego Bay, Prime Minister Siaga was briefed on the situation in the west by people working on relief efforts. The plane passed over the north and the east of the island on the journey back to Kingston. As he stepped from the plane, Prime Minister Siaga looked saddened by what he had seen, and he said he felt drained of emotion. Mr. Siaga said that after the immediate needs for food and shelter, the biggest problem would be housing.
We have got to sit down and work out the easiest way to put up structures that can be afforded for areas that have been badly hit or virtually wiped out.
Mr. Siaga said that more than 100,000 homes had been destroyed, with many more thousands badly damaged. Damage to crops was severe, particularly banana, cane and coconut. He said the poultry industry had been wiped out. Also on that flight was U.S. Ambassador Michael Sotiris.
So right now we're addressing the immediate needs as requested by the emergency preparation people here in Jamaica and requested by the Prime Minister. Beyond that, it's going to be, of course, a bilateral situation of what other assistance we can give them.
During the next few days, Mr. Siaga was to tour the damaged areas from the ground, and he would later tell journalists that this not only confirmed the view from the air, but revealed even worse damage and the distress of people who'd been made homeless. In Hanover, he met with the members of the Disaster Committee, which he praised for having worked well and with unity that crossed political lines. As he spoke to the people in shelters, Mr. Siaga said it was a time for unity.
It's not a time for politics. It's a time for everybody to pull together.
The organizations of both political parties have been involved in food distribution, and representatives of the parties are members of parish disaster committees across the island.
I have made it clear to the Prime Minister that we offer, both in terms of myself personally and on behalf of the People's National Party, full solidarity, cooperation and support in all of the enormous efforts that have now to be made, first in the area of relief and secondly in the area of reconstruction.
I want to go on record as saying that I am deeply grateful to the representatives of both political parties who, in this hour of emergency and crisis, have not only kept the centers going with food, but have also, in addition, provided the main communication network that exists in the country through the party two-way radio systems that exist in both parties. Were it not for this, we would have been virtually totally without communication, and chaos would have reigned.
What made Gilbert so destructive was the fact that the eye came right over Jamaica, bringing with it the full force of hurricane winds. This was not a near miss or a hurricane that merely passed by. It has changed lives and landscapes and left Jamaicans across the island with the job of rebuilding and counting the coffers.